If you are getting told no by investors, by brokers, shoot, even your wife, if you are hitting brick walls when you're trying to raise capital, I know exactly what the problem is. In this episode, I break down the critical error that almost every investor, real estate guy, or girl is making when they're raising money. Tune in, listen to this. I even break down my exact script that I use to raise capital. I've raised over $15 million with these principles. Check it out on Unlock Your Life. Do you have an issue with people getting bored with your pitch, telling you no? Maybe they listen to you politely, but you're not closing the deal. I'm going to go through a formula that is battle tested. I have used it time and time again. And I'm going to reveal the secret to making a great pitch and also getting your client to commit to you and say yes and want to move versus thinking, wow, he was such a nice guy, interesting concept, throwing it on the back burner and never calling you back. So let's get into it. The first thing that you need to think about is controlling the frame. Most people go into sales meetings, whether they're talking to somebody about joining the deal room, whether they're talking to somebody about investing in their deal, whether they want to talk to a broker about sending them off-market deals, and they think that the best way to start is with small talk, with pleasantries, with a little bit of chit chat, water cooler talk. This is completely wrong. This lowers your status. It does not advance you. You think that you're building rapport, but really what you're doing is at best, creating some warm and fuzzy feelings, but at worst, you're lowering your status as someone that doesn't take things seriously, doesn't have a very busy schedule, doesn't have deadlines to keep, timelines to meet, and other investors to talk to about their deal. So when you're going into a meeting, you need to immediately take control and take charge of that meeting. You can do that by setting a timeline. Hey, thanks for carving out some time. I'm glad I could carve out some time to talk with you. I've got about 30 minutes, so let's dig right into it. This is how I would like to see the meeting go. Bam, 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 bam. Right there, you've taken charge of the meeting, you've taken control, and they say, oh, okay, this guy's serious. He's got an agenda. He's busy. He has a little bit of time to talk with me. I better pay attention. That's another key. Do not go out there and talk to somebody for 60 minutes. It also lowers your status. Status and posturing are the most important pieces when you're meeting or talking with someone that you want to do business with. We think, oh, well, if I just give them deference, give them honor, give them praise, give them compliments, they're going to reach down and give me a hand up because they're going to see that I'm this deserving, hardworking young man, and they're going to want to give me a shot. But in actuality, how it plays out in dollars and cents, that does not work. The old school approach of badgering and pleading, following up, wanting another meeting, dragging out your sales cycles, it's just not effective. Yes, you're going to get 1 or 2 out of every 100, and you can brute force it through meeting after meeting after meeting, but who wants to do that? I know I certainly don't. So setting that timeline, laying out this is what I'm going to do. We're going to talk about a few things. If this sounds interesting to you, we can talk about next steps. Sound good? Good. The next thing I do is I start to ask them questions. Whoever's asking the questions is controlling the meeting. Have you thought about that? If you're on a sales call with someone and they say, okay, well, what do you got? Pitch me. Tell me about your product. Tell me about already you're on your heels and you're having to defend your position. They have achieved dominance in that relationship and they're going to keep it as long as you allow them to keep it. So you've got to flip that frame on them. You've got to assert your dominance. And when you take control of the meeting right out of the gate by setting your agenda, setting your schedule, you can do this. Now, with some people, this is easier than others, right? Some people are laid back. They're easy to let you take control or happy to let you take control of the meeting. Others, not so much. You may be on their turf, on their domain, meeting them at their office, and they're used to being in charge. They're used to being the dominant one. They've heard a million pitches, they've had a million sales meetings, and they want to control that meeting. And so how can you do that? You can do that through subtle denials, right? If they ask you to sit somewhere, you say, well, actually, I prefer to sit over here. Nothing rude, but just a little nudge in the right direction there. You can, if they say, hey, we've only got about 20 minutes carved out for this meeting when it was supposed to be 30, go over the top. Yeah, I know, I've only got about 15 here. Something came up and I'm gonna have to bounce. I'm glad that you only have 20 because I really need to leave after 15 minutes. Mean it and believe it. But you've got to regain control of that situation. Now, hopefully, that doesn't happen, and that only happens in certain situations where you're dealing with ego. But even with ego, it is very easy to disrupt their flow, but you've got to do something a little bit outside the box. Asking them questions, though. You need to understand what is their pain, what is their problem, because you don't want to solve for the wrong thing. I just had a meeting with a gentleman who was looking to invest some money with me, and one of the really key components of this product, it's a debt fund that we offer, is the liquidity, right? The ability to get your money back out whenever you want. And I had planned in preparing for this meeting to really hit on that and make that into like a big deal. But it wasn't a big deal because as I was asking him questions about what are you trying to achieve, what's important to you, are you looking for cash flow, do you need liquidity, are you trying to grow your wealth, I uncovered that liquidity wasn't important to him at all. And so yes, even though that's a feature of the firm, feature of the fund, it's not something that I want to hold out as the shining beacon of this is why you should do it when he doesn't even care about that, right? So asking a couple of questions. When people call me about joining the deal room, I initially take control of that meeting by saying, hey, glad to meet you. I've got about 20, 30 minutes here, so let's get right into it. Tell me about yourself. What is your story? And right there, I get them talking. Then I ask, why do you even want to do apartments? Now they're defending why they want to do apartments, why they're on the call with me. What are the challenges that you're facing? Like, why haven't you done this yet? Why haven't you been able to close apartment complexes yet? Why should I work with you is kind of like what I'm trying to come across. Instead of a meeting where they're expecting me to be, hey, we do this and this and this, and we're gonna make you into a millionaire and it's gonna be awesome, and you should pay me so that we can help you and we're gonna just support you and it's just gonna be great. That's what they're expecting. When I flip the meeting on them, it's more like, should I let you in? What are you bringing to the table? What skills do you have? Can you raise capital? Can you talk with brokers? Can you bring us deal flow? Can you bring value to my group? Because I've built something incredible here that churns out results that I'm sure about. Do I want you in this group? And yes, it's sales and yes, it's posturing, but it's also the 100% truth. There have been many calls that I've been on where after about 5-10 minutes, I'm like, I don't want them in the deal room. I don't think they're a good fit for the deal room. And I'm not going to mess up what I've built by bringing in somebody just because they're going to pay me $400 a month. I don't care about the $400 a month. I don't want the $400 a month. I don't need the $400 a month. I'll take it if they're the right fit because I know it's going to help them and it may bring opportunity to me as well. But it's not something that I'm desperate about or that I need. Same thing in going with this meeting with this investor, right? He's got some money that he wants to invest in the fund. But you know what? Money's a commodity. Everybody has money. Money, there's no difference between your dollars and my dollars and their dollars. It's totally transferable. It's very versatile. It's one of the good things about it, but don't get it wrong. It is just a commodity. You know what's not a commodity is you. You are not a commodity. The person that has the opportunity, that has the team, that has the business plan, that has the infrastructure, that has the ability to take those dollars and make them into more dollars, right? That is not easy to find, replicatable. You're the only one that's just like you, and you're the only one that has access to the deal. And if they don't want to invest in this deal, there are plenty others that do and will because money is simply a commodity. So as you come into that meeting, you need to recognize that. Same thing when you're talking with a broker, right? It is frankly ridiculous that a broker is going to talk down to you or think that, you're maybe not worth their time. When in fact, you're their customer. They don't get paid without a buyer. They don't get paid without somebody researching the deals they have, vetting them out, raising the money, getting the loan, and closing them so that the broker can get paid. And when you start to position yourself as what I like to call the prize, you're the prize of the equation, not the broker and his deal. That's not the prize. Not the investor with his $100,000 or $1 million. That's not the prize. You are the prize. So as you walk into that meeting, you need to posture and present yourself as you are the thing, the only thing in this room that is not a commodity. You are the only thing that is one of a kind. You're not going to say it in that many words, but if you walk into the meeting understanding that deeply and feeling that, you're going to have a way, way different approach to how you're talking with that investor. So you've got to get that status and you've got to hang on to it. You do not want to be below them, right? You're not trying to be an egomaniac or above them or you're better than them, but you want to be on an equal playing field with them. So why does neediness and wanting stuff not work? Why is that the worst thing, the absolute last thing that you should do, and the worst approach to sales is, let me just show them how much I want their business, how much I'm going to earn their business, what a great job I'm going to do for them, and that I really, really need them. The reason is people don't make decisions with their neocortex. You understand your deal. You've thought through your deal. You've thought through it emotionally. You've thought through it logically. You've vetted out all the numbers. You've done your due diligence, and you know that it is a great deal. And so you think that if you present this to the investor, they are going to look at this information. They're going to critically analyze it. They're going to come to the same logical conclusion that you did, that, hey, yeah, this is a good deal and I want to be a part of it. But that's not how human beings make decisions. Human beings make decisions first through their amygdala, right? That's the core base level of your brain. Some people call it the reptile brain or the croc brain. I'm going to call it the lizard brain for this podcast. But the lizard brain, it's not great at processing complex things. It's not great at really, really thinking things through in a logical manner. And it's also very weak and frankly lazy. The croc brain, though, is very, very vital, right? Let's say somebody threw a baseball at 90 miles an hour at your head and your eye sees it out of the corner of your eye whizzing towards your temple. And if that thing hits you, it's going to knock you out. Your croc brain is what it doesn't process, well, how fast is that baseball going? And what's the density of the baseball? What kind of leather is that baseball made out of? And, what kind of damage could I sustain this hit? No, the croc brain says duck, and you move your head and the ball whizzes by your head harmlessly. And it protects you in that instant because it knows that the neocortex is going to overanalyze and take way too long to make a decision, and it needs to act right now. It needs to avoid this threat. And that's what it specializes in, is threat. So when we're presented with a new idea, with a new pitch, with hey, will you give me money? Will you invest in my deal? Our croc brain assesses this opportunity first. Another thing that the croc brain does is it doesn't want to make the neocortex work too hard. So if it can take that opportunity and kick it to the curb immediately, then it's saved the neocortex a lot of work. Like, it doesn't have to go through the due diligence documents. It doesn't have to look through the underwriting spreadsheet. It doesn't have to get to know you and see if they really, really want to invest in this deal. And so it's trying to kill your deal before it even starts. And it is looking for threats. And that is exactly what neediness and wanting something is. It is a threat to the investor. It is a threat to the broker. It is a threat to women in the dating world, that neediness, that want, because they think, wait a minute, why does this guy want to do a deal with me so much? Why does this guy want my money so badly? Why is he so needy about this? Like, is he desperate? Is he in financial straits? Is he holding a financial ticking time bomb and I'm about to get in bed with this guy and his whole life is going to collapse because he's so needy he'll take anybody's money? Why is he pursuing me? And what happens when you chase? What you want runs away. Money runs away when you chase it. Everyone makes decisions this way. They're first scanning for threats. Neediness is the ultimate threat that the croc brain senses and immediately runs. So when you walk into that meeting, you have to divest yourself of every shred of neediness or want. He who wants least wins. So if I'm going into a meeting with an investor and I've got $1.6 million that I need to get raised and I haven't raised a single dollar, I'm like, man, I really want this guy to like commit to at least $100,000 or $200,000 and get into my deal. Really want this to get this kicked off and I need this to happen. He feels that. He senses that. How else could you think about this going into that meeting? Well, you can think about money as a commodity. You can think about yourself as the prize. You can think about the great deal that you uncovered through making dozens and dozens of offers and you finally found something that works and you know it's going to be a home run and you know it's going to be a slam dunk. And you also know that if this guy says no, so the next guy will say yes. Somebody will say yes. 16 people will give me $100,000 and give me the 1.6 million that I need to close this deal. I'm going to close this deal no matter what. I know this deal will fill up very, very quickly. And you're lucky that I'm sitting here giving you this opportunity to get in on this on the ground floor before it's full and closed because I don't know when I'm going to have my next good opportunity. It took me 6-8 months to find this deal, and I don't know when the next one's going to be. That is the positioning that you want to bring into that meeting where you're eradicating neediness. And so think that through. Write down the thoughts you're having of want and lack and need and flip the script on those things as to, well, hold on a second. I have morals. I have integrity. I know what I'm doing. I've underwritten this deal. My mentors have underwritten this deal. I'm positive this deal is going to work. I know it's a great deal. And if he gets in, he's going to be lucky to be in. And if he doesn't, I'm going to find somebody else that definitely does. That's the attitude and posturing you need to bring. Next thing is you need to create tension. If you're listening to this podcast, you may have already felt your attention start to wander. I'm going to tell you a story right now. Sales guy walks into the big boss's office. The big boss tells him to sit over there in the secretary chair. He's sitting up at his desk. Then he calls his analyst in to tear this guy's deal apart. All the while, he's chomping on an apple and is totally disinterested in that. The guy's not listening to the pitch, and this dude's deal is dead in the water. Gets up, says, hey, I gotta grab a glass of water. Excuses himself from the man's office, goes into the kitchen, rummages around, finds a knife and a paper towel. Walks back into the office, walks right up to the guy's desk. The apple with a bite out of it is sitting there on the desk. He reaches down and says, may I, as he grabs the apple, doesn't wait for acknowledgement, picks the apple up, holds the knife up, sets it down on the paper towel, and cuts the apple in half. He then hands the guy one half with the bite out of it, and he takes the other half. He says, listen, I know your track record. I know your background. I'm willing to do a deal with you, but only if it's fair. I want to put something together that works for both parties. Boom, he's created tension. This guy is paying attention. He's done something unconventional. And you know what? He closed that deal. I was on a Zoom the other day, and I noticed that as I'm talking, someone's not paying attention. They're looking down on their computer screen, and it looks like they're either writing or typing something and just kind of not paying attention. And as I'm talking, I call that person out by name. I say, he's not even paying attention. He's doing a story. He immediately looks up and says, oh, well, I was taking notes. I was writing down what you said. And it was right. And it didn't matter that I was even wrong. I created tension and I grabbed everyone in that Zoom room's attention and refocused it on me and what I was saying because it was important. I didn't offend the guy. I wasn't really calling him out or trying to embarrass him, but I needed to create a little bit of attention there. You can do that in your sales pitch by pulling back what you're offering. How can you do this? This is critical because without that push and pull and tension, which is very uncomfortable, you're going to feel sick to your stomach trying to do this the first time, but without doing it, you're never going to get the success that you want. So the push-pull dynamic is the takeaway. So when talking with this investor, even just earlier today, I go through it and I say, listen, this may not be right for you. I'm not just out here to take money from anybody that will give money to me. I want someone whose values align with what we're doing and they see the long-term vision of what we're trying to do. So if your values don't align with that, we could never work together. And I paused. Let that sink in. Let it be uncomfortable for a minute. You've just pushed. Now you got to pull. But on second thought, I mean, that's crazy. Like hearing about you and your track record and what you've done, I'm sure that's not the case. I think our values do align. And I think we could build something really, really cool together. You're pulling them back in. A little later on, he asked about if I put cash in the fund and I want to make a large withdrawal, you're promising me 90 days. Is that going to be a problem if I withdraw X amount of dollars, which is, it was a significant amount of money. It was like he was pushing me onto my heels there, seeing what I would say. And I had two roads to go down right here. Road number one, oh yeah, no, that'll be no problem. Like we have liquidity. We've structured the funds so that we can give you your money back no matter what. Like don't worry about that. I got you, right? That's chasing. I didn't say that. I said, well, if you wanted to make a withdrawal like that, like right after you put the money into the fund, we would have to stop making loans for about 2 months. We'd have to recycle the money coming in from loans being paid off and not make any new loans. We'd have to dedicate that money and give it back to you. And that would put a serious chink in our business. That would be not good for our borrowers. That would not be good for our business. We could do that. Is that something that you're planning on doing? Pushing it back on him. He says, oh, no. You know, I wouldn't do that. I said, okay, because I mean, if you are planning on doing that, this is probably not going to be the right fit for us. Pushing again. No. I don't want to do that. If I put it in there, I want to leave it. I just want it to earn money and accrue. That's not my plan. Okay, good. That sounds great. And then this will probably work out. And I'm pulling him back in. Right, but that was a critical juncture where he was testing me. And instead of falling in line, giving him the company line of like, oh yes, we have liquidity, we can do this, we can do whatever you need, sir. Whatever you need, we're at your beck and call. We're going to make that happen. Like, dude, that would make a serious impact, negative impact in my business. I don't want that to happen. If you're planning on doing that, I need to know that now so that we don't do business together. So what is the real root of that question? Stand up for yourself. Push back a little bit. Tell people the truth, be honest with them, and see the doors that will open up to you and the embracing that you get from an investor instead of the, man, why is this guy like chasing me so hard? Like it's like he's obsessed with me. Like I really just don't like this feeling. So let me walk you through a sample pitch that I am using in real time to pitch for my debt fund, okay? It's worked over and over and over again. So first, I'm going to set the frame. Thanks for carving out time today. Here's how I'd like to run this. I want to walk you through the opportunity, highlight why it's different, and if it clicks for you, we can talk about next step. Sound fair? Boom. Sure. Sounds good. Now you're in control. You got his attention, and he's listening. I'm going to tell a story now. The struggle, the problem, the struggle, and the breakthrough. Getting solid, consistent returns at scale is a huge issue in the real estate space. Operators could generate returns on a few deals with a few $1 million, but as investors want to place more capital and more cash, those risks grow. I saw this firsthand in buying apartment complexes. A lot of my colleagues tried to do more and more deals, or they're hiring on more staff, or they're hiring out third-party management, and many deals fell apart just from workload overload and reaching for deals that really weren't that good and not at a good basis. So we spotted a unique angle. Right here, I'm talking about the breakthrough. We spotted a unique angle. We can protect our investors' cash with first position liens. We're going to do all the vetting up front, but then we're going to spread the workload out over many investors that are borrowing from us. After some Heavy lifting, we developed a fund that changed the game. Now, moving into, we've set the frame, we've told the story, now we're revealing the intrigue. This is where we're creating mystery or exclusivity, why our fund is different, okay? Here's where it gets really, really interesting. We're doing something that most funds can't replicate. We pay 8 to 10% returns compounding or distributing monthly, not quarterly, not annually, so that our fund is structured so the investors get paid first. So before any fees, any overhead, even before we pay our light bill, you get paid. On top of that, we provide total liquidity. You can cash out anytime you want. Very few people know that this is even possible. It's kind of like having a money market that doesn't generate 4%, it generates 10%. So I've revealed the intrigue. I've showed them why this opportunity is different. Now, I'm going to offer the prize. Remember, they are the commodity, you are the prize. They have to earn the right to invest with me. I'm careful about who I bring into this. We're not looking for just money. We want partners who really get the bigger vision. That said, for the right person, we're willing to put in the work to place their capital and make the returns for them. Now I'm going to nail the hook, nail my point. Look, in a sentence, we offer 10% returns paid every month, backed by first position liens at 70 cents on the dollar. Your funds are liquid, and our borrowers have a 0.002% default rate. That's 10x lower than the industry standard. Now I'm moving into the decision. I'm going in for the ask. Right here, I could say, what questions do you need answered before we move forward? Because they're probably going to have some more questions about how the fund works, etc. And at this point, you want them to ask questions so that they can clarify. They've got buy-in, they like the idea, they just have a couple questions, and every question that they get answered is further cementing their desire to invest with you. You could go a little stronger. If this sounds like something you want to be a part of, I need to know so that I can talk to the team about timelines and getting your capital placed. I didn't use this in this. I don't know that I would use it on an apartment deck because they probably will have some questions. But that's how you ask for it. What questions do you need to answer before we move forward? Keep your energy high, but not desperate. You want to be excited about what you're doing, passionate, you believe it, you're competent, you're confident, but you're not desperate. Smile slightly when you're offering that prize. When you're saying, look, we don't want to work with everybody. We're not just out here to take money from whoever will give it to us. We're looking for investors that are going to buy into our vision with the same values, and we can win together. If that's not you, I understand. But if it is, I think that we could build something great together. You're not saying it with ego. You're not saying it with cockiness. It's just you know what you have. Staying relaxed. High status people are always relaxed. They're not nervous. They're not fidgety. They're not appreciative. They're not in awe of this guy's office or his net worth or his wealth or he's so important, right? He is your equal. You are his equal. You have something that he needs. You have something that he wants, or you wouldn't be sitting in that office. So guys, the mindset and psychology behind raising money is incredibly critical. A lot of people struggle with this because they don't understand how important this piece is. If this podcast resonated with you, if you got something out of that, shoot me a DM, shoot me a message. I'd love to hear about it. I'd love to chat with you. And take some time this week to try this stuff out and unlock your life. Peace.